The Imole Campaign Council has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to address what he described as lapses recorded in recent elections before the August 15, 2026 Osun State governorship election. Speaking at a press conference on Monday, July 20, 2026, the Director General of the Council, Senator Larry Oyewumi, said the appeal became necessary following observations from the 2026 FCT Area Council election, the Ekiti State governorship election, and the June 20, 2026 by-elections conducted in Enugu, Nasarawa, Ondo, Rivers, Kano, and Kebbi states. According to him, the campaign council believes that the credibility of elections depend on public confidence, warning that democracy will be in danger if citizens lose faith in the electoral process. Oyewumi urged INEC to address the deployment of insufficient ballot papers and other sensitive election materials, alleging that shortage and reported incident of missing ballot papers in some polling units during the FCT Area Council election disrupted voting and disenfranchised eligible voters. The TICC Director General also expressed concern over alleged distribution of permanent voters' cards to suspected machinery voters in some recent off-cycle and by-elections, noting that the issue had generated public anxiety. He warned that the people of Osun would resist any attempt to manipulate the electoral process through the unlawful distribution of PVC or the importation of machinery voters. Oyewumi also appealed to security agencies to remain neutral and professional throughout the election while urging political parties and their supporters to conduct themselves peacefully. He assured residents that the Imole Campaign Council would continue to engage lawful democratic institutions to protect the sanctity of votes cast during the August 15 governorship election.
Accordingly, the government added to urgently address the following observation ahead of Osun State governorship election. 1. Deployment of insufficient ballot papers and other sensitive materials. I repeat, deployment of insufficient ballot papers and other sensitive materials to polling units. We are deeply concerned by a series of complaints on the lapses observed on the 2026 FCT Area Council election, particularly in the deployment of and safeguarding of ballot papers and other sensitive materials, as reported by several election observers and various groups that participated in election. In several polling booths, particularly in Abadi Area Council, ballot papers were reportedly missing or allegedly snapped, leading to the suspension or stalling of voting and creating affordable tension between voters, party agents, and security personnel. The Commission should be required to demonstrate in verifiable terms that 1. Every polling unit has a clearly documented and publicly accessible record of the quantity of ballot papers and other sensitive material deployed. 2. Chain of custody procedure are tightened with clear sanctions for diversions, negligence, or tampering. And 3. Real-time reporting mechanisms are in place to detect and rectify shortages or irregularities to avoid disenfranchisement of voters. Number 2. Distribution of PVCs to suspected machinery voters. One of the most disturbing development in recent off-cycle and by-election conducted by INEC in Ogun, Oyo, Jigawa, Nasarawa, Kano, Ekiti states was the widely circulated viral video showing individuals suspected to be machinery voters allegedly receiving permanent voters card PVC shortly before voting. To this moment, INEC has failed to either provide any satisfactory explanation or debunk the authenticity of this incident abstractly. The people of Osun State will not tolerate any attempt to impose machinery voters or manipulate the electoral process through unlawful distribution of PVC. INEC owes Nigeria a duty of guaranteeing that every ballot paper and every resource deployed for Osun election remains secure, untampered with, and inaccessible to unauthorized persons. There must be no opportunity whatsoever for the cloning or duplication of sensitive election materials by anybody. Report of voting without PVCs. Allowing individuals to vote without presenting their PVCs creates dangerous opportunities for impersonation, multiple voting, and the participation of machinery voters. This undermines public confidence and provides a further ground for electoral manipulation. The Imole Campaign Council rejects such practice in its entirety. INEC must make adequate preparation by creating additional voting points and deploying sufficient numbers of electoral personnel before machine and other accreditation equipment to such heavily populated polling units. This is necessary to ensure that every registered voter is given a reasonable opportunity to vote within the stipulated time. Equally discouraging is the report by some actors about the illegal printing of extra resources for the election. Any manipulation or duplication of resources is a direct attack on the transparent collection and authenticity of election results and will enable dangerous practices such as substitution, infiltration, or alteration of vote figures. The light of these troubling indications, the Imole Campaign Council called on INEC, security agencies, and all relevant authorities to urgently investigate these posts, secure and audit the PFAS devices and resources, and publicly reassure the people of Osun State that robust safeguards are in place to prevent any form of tampering or pre-programming that could compromise the security of the August 15, 2026 governorship election. Security agencies to remain very neutral, professional, and vigilant throughout the electoral process, while calling on political parties themselves and their supporters to conduct themselves peacefully and responsibly. Finally, we are sorry for the that Imole Campaign Council will continue to engage every lawful democratic institution to protect the sanctity of their vote. The vote of Osun people must stand, and every legitimate vote must be protected.